Good morning. Welcome to Pass-A-Grille Beach Community Church, United Church of Christ, where we always like to say, no matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are welcomed here. For those of you who want to give me a hug, today's not the day. Save it for next week. I was exposed to somebody who tested positive for COVID, and today I woke up with my voice a little bit off. I did take a test this morning, and as of this morning, I'm negative. But just in case, I've got the mask, and I am keeping my distance. But nonetheless, I could have lost my voice for 100 other reasons, including just the humidity. We have a new look to our bulletin, and some things that are not here that you might be used to, which are all the announcements. We normally have in our program a series of announcements that tell us everything that's happening. And we are entering into a very busy time of year, which is Lent. It starts in 2 weeks. And so we ask that you please stay tuned to our weekly email blast, which will hopefully start up again soon. And go to our website. Just go to our website, go to the events tab on our website, and there everything will be listed. We hope that by this time next week, we will have a sheet with announcements that will also, that you can take home and will remind us of what's going on. So today is a very important day. It's the day that we're going to have a congregational vote. At the 8:30 service, there were people who were so eager to vote that they kind of lost sense of procedure. And they just said, well, I got my vote here, just take it. And the procedure is that you have to wait for the meeting to be called. Once the congregational meeting is called by the church council president, Bonnie Castle, the resolution is going to be read. And once the resolution is read, then she'll go through all the procedures of yeas and nays and discussion and all that kind of stuff. Okay? So it is important for every church member to vote. If you are not a church member, after the benediction, you are free to go home. If you want to stay and stick around and see how the vote goes, you're more than welcome to also stick around and see how that vote unfurls. And now to share an announcement with us, I call Dale Williams. She's going to speak to us about the concert that's coming up on this Thursday.
Good morning. Right now, piano number 2 is hidden behind you all, but I promise there are 2 grand pianos currently sitting up here side by side. And we are going to, as part of our concert series, have Pianopalooza Thursday night. Gregorius Zamparas, who's the head of the piano department at the University of Tampa, is joining me, along with 2 other colleagues from UT, and we're going to do all kinds of combinations of 4 or 8 hand piano music on one or both of these pianos. We are not rolling them out onto the labyrinth. This is not bring a chair and a cooler kind of a concert. The event is going to happen here in the sanctuary. It is a free event, but we encourage you to make a donation as our donations go to food bank. But I would say this, that because it is in fact free, I think it's worth the price of admission for you just to come and see the 4 of us play the last piece all at one piano. And we will move, think about that. We will move the altar out of the way and have the pianos further forward so you'll be able to enjoy. So I hope that many of you will join us Thursday night, 7 o'clock right here.
So one last thing on procedure. Procedure. If you came into church and you are a church member and you did not pick up a ballot and you would like to vote, there is a registration table outside. They need to go through the list and register you, and then you sign. No picture ID is required, so that'll be good. But we do not have same-day registration, so maybe by the next time. But just know that you'll get an opportunity to get your ballot if you haven't done so already. And so now I invite you to take a nice deep breath, get centered. Let us get ready for worship by listening to the prelude.
join us in the opening hymn.
Let us remain standing, and please join me in the opening prayer. In this place of love, we open our wounded hearts to healing. In this place of peace, our defenses slip away. In this place of courage, we link our arms with one another. In this place of compassion, we share one another's burdens. In this place of hope, we commit ourselves to the challenge. May we offer healing where relationships are broken, understanding where communities have divided, and shift the weight of loss and heartache so it is not borne alone. This is a place of peace, a place where all are welcome in a COVID-friendly, germ-free way. Let us greet one another with words of peace. Extend the sign of peace to one another. May the peace of Christ be with you.
And I want to thank publicly Joe, you were small, for joining me. We figured if we had two pianos, we might as well take advantage of it Sunday morning. So I appreciate her playing this morning. At this time, after the music, if those children that are available then can go with Miss Signey to faith formation.
children head off with Miss Signey. Perfect. Good morning. If you would like to turn to your bulletin to follow along, I'm going to read a reading from Martin Luther King Jr., The Contemporary Witness. One of the great liabilities of history is that all too many people fail to remain awake through great periods of social change. Every society has its protectors of status quo and its fraternities of the indifferent who are notorious for sleeping through revolutions. Today, our very survival depends on our ability to stay awake, to adjust to new ideas, and to face the challenge of change. I have a note here that I'm going to read from Keith that the council approved for me to read to you this morning as we get ready to vote on the ONA. So this is from Keith. Let me begin by saying how proud I am of this church and how far we have come in the last 18 years. It is with a great sense of joy that I await the results of the vote today. While once the measure of an active church member was to worship twice a month, it is now once every 6 weeks. The Wall Street Journal recently noted that 80% of 20-year-olds in our country know little about church or the Christian message, except for what they see on the news, which usually centers around anger, hatred, judgmentalism, and a militaristic nationalism. In contrast, however, statistics also show among younger Americans a yearning for spiritual growth based on an openness of theological thinking. Interestingly enough, this was a slogan of the UCC a few years back saying, "Never place a period where God has placed a comma," which is the approach society wants to hear and the church needs to proclaim. All of this may seem far removed from what's to happen in our church today, but not really, because ONA is about more than 3 letters aimed at flying a flag for the LGBTQ community. Neither is it some logo which we approve and then congratulate ourselves for adopting it. It is a proclamation, the same vein as "He Gets Us" Super Bowl ads, which will be aired today, as we too say, Jesus gets us. He gets us where and as we are, not where others say or think we should be. He is not motivated by pointing out faults. He is interested in seeing the good, the divine, the promising within us. To be ONA doesn't change much on the inside of our church. We have been welcoming of LGBTQ for my entire tenure, but that does not speak to those outside our walls who have had painful experiences with churches and are fearful of even walking through the church doors. I can't imagine Jesus wanted it that way. He spoke to a woman at the well. He interacted, confronting the powers of his day, especially those leading the religious, and stands with us as we reach for the higher ideals of Christ. To be a disciple of Christ stand in contrast to our own, but to labor towards the truth that resides between us. Your decision, I hope, will lead us one step closer here. Great Creator, celebrating at the end for welcoming with us all. Be with each of us